I'm streaming right now.
Post notifications to come up.
Gotcha, gotcha. I'll do that. Go get some water.
There we go. Post notification.
Alright, are we ready?
Ready.
Ready! Alright. 3, 2. Fucking YouTube, oh my god. Alright, 3, 2. Welcome here to the LBL CFM mid-season recap. You're here, your host with the most, Boogie Bot J, aka J Dilla, aka J Itakaka, aka J Do It All, aka say no say. Future in here with my boys Mikiey and Lewis. Here, introduce yourself, guys.
Well, I'm Mikiey. I don't know what we do. Obviously, I'm the Falcons.
Follow me on YouTube. At Off the Cam.
Subscribe to Jay and turn on post notifications.
My guy, my guy.
Don't forget to like and subscribe as well.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Free promo right there. Alright, man. I know we've been a little bit behind on these recaps recently. You know, we just been kind of busy. You know what I'm saying? Kind of maintaining the league. But we're here. We're going to give you exactly what the league's been missing. So, for right now, we're going all the way back to week 2. We're just going to cover a game of the week for the previous weeks. And, up until like week 10 and 11, we'll cover those games too. Give some future predictions for week 12. Couple hot takes as usual, and also mid-season stats and for the award races, and even how the playoff races are looking. So without further ado, going all the way to week 2, you guys voted. Hoodie Mikiey, who is here, of the Arizona Cardinals, taking on the Baltimore Ravens, and former owner Logan, aka Osama bin Laden of the Baltimore Ravens.
AKA the new Raider youth.
Yeah, he experienced a little bit of Madden fatigue, which took him away from the league for a little bit. And when he came back, he was already a Ravens user, so he decided to take over the team in Oakland, who is now in Vegas. So
Yeah, this is a little interesting, moving from the Ravens to the Raiders, but see how he'll do over there with Henry Ruggs and company. But getting to this one, you guys voted for week 2 game of the week, and this one wasn't particularly close. Heading into halftime here, 21-7. Excuse me, 24-7, and Arizona even only scoring a field goal in the second half of this game, but Baltimore still couldn't do anything offensively, as defensively Arizona Cardinals absolutely shut down Lamar Jackson and company. Lamar Jackson was 8 of 12. That looks pretty good, right? Only passed for 130. Kyler Murray, 81 passing yards, 6 of 6, looking perfect through the air. Rushing wise, Kyler Murray shined as usual. 12 carries, a $156, 1 touchdown. Nick Chubb getting some success on the ground as usual. 10 carries, a $119, 2 touchdowns for him, 3 between Kyler and Chubb. But J.K. Dobbins almost cracked 100 yards and finding the end zone twice. Other than that, Lamar Jackson completely shut out on the ground and throughout the air in this one. We're not gonna look at DK Metcalf. He was a Seattle Seahawk at this time during the season.
Yeah, they replaced his stats with those stats were originally by Philip Dorsett. It was no, those stats are actually by
Shaq.
the other receiver, JJ Nelson. No, that's JJ Nelson's stats. They replaced him with JJ Nelson. Yeah. JJ Nelson in his game had 10 receptions for 80 yards. Philip Dorsett, 2 receptions, 45 yards. Christian Kirk, 4 for 36. Marquise Brown led the way for the Baltimore Ravens, 3 receptions, 64 yards. Couldn't find the end zone 1 time. But Him and Mark Andrews tried the best they could. The late pass to Willie Snead in the fourth quarter, which got him in the red zone, got him his late game touchdown. That was a pretty good game for the receiving wise. We didn't have no 100-yard receiver in this game, which kind of sucks. Thought it would have been a lot of receptions. But you could go to defense.
Yeah. Excuse me. As far as defense, the highest tackle amount in this one, all coming on the defensive side of the ball for the Baltimore Ravens, and Chuck Clark, Patrick Queen, and Juan Thornhill coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs in a big trade, including Chris Jones earlier in the season. Matthew Judon leading the way with 2 sacks. Jordan Hicks, Hassan Reddick, Corey Peters joining in the party, a sack apiece for each of them. Surprisingly enough, no interceptions between the 2 Heisman Trophy winners. No defensive touchdowns in this one whatsoever, and the 2 lone field goals in this one, Zane Gonzalez, perfect. Other than that, Mikey, how exactly do you think Logan played in this one? Was it competitive? Did you expect more out of him, or was it exactly how you drew it up?
Mikey?
Alrighty, cool. Until he gets back. Yeah, until he gets back. Yeah, that was game of the week for week 2. Until he comes back, we'll wait on his.
I'm right back.
No. I was asking, how did you feel about this game? Did you expect a lot out of Logan, or did you just go in there with the game plan, expect everything to happen the way it did?
But judging by week 1, I'm almost certain that I've expected him to just run the ball pretty much the entire game. He had a pretty decent rushing attack in week 1 against the Miami Dolphins. So I knew coming into this game, J.K. Dobbins was the main focus. I didn't really think Lamar Jackson would get into it, but yeah, I knew to stay in run D for all 4 quarters until the fourth quarter came. Like I said, he got a late touchdown in the fourth quarter with J.K. Dobbins, the lone touchdown. Well, his second touchdown. I just honestly knew Marquise Brown, Hollywood. I knew he wasn't going to be a factor. I knew Mark Andrews wasn't going to be a factor, and I knew Willie Snead wasn't going to get any touches. But I mean, I expected the game to be low scoring because when you're running the ball, clock runs, you do what you do. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be a like dog fight. I knew it was definitely going to be a management type game. Who could run the ball the best? That's what I thought going into the game.
True that. Surprising enough, perfect timing here, as we got the former Baltimore Ravens joining us here on the Recap Live show. Logan, the man himself. Logan, are you here?
Yeah.
Hey there. For week 2, game of the week against Mikey, could you tell us exactly what had happened in that game?
Yeah, so Mikey kind of just killed my defense on the run. That's really about it.
Must have been enough to trading Calais Campbell and E.T.
Well, in my fairness, I got some really good backups. There's some really good replacement players.
Juan Thornhill, Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, and what's his face? Frank Clark, which I hope the current Ravens will use properly. Yeah, it's really it. I don't really remember much about that game other than he killed my own defense.
I mean, a pretty good note is that both Heisman Trophy winners, while didn't have an amazing games, neither one of them turned the ball over, which could cause a game to go in the other team's favor. So,
facts.
The game was solely on honestly Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins. Kyler got into it because Kyler, he can run just like Lamar. But he has a little bit more design runs. Well, I use a little bit more design runs for Kyler than Logan. Logan doesn't really do read option QB blast. He more so runs if the pocket collapses. So that's why he had 3 for 13. So. Yeah.
True that. It definitely wasn't a blowout.
Definitely a solid game.
Facts. It was definitely a solid game. So, congratulations to both of you guys. As we go to week three game of the week, from what I remember, was it? It was Logan and Perk, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was.
And
It was.
Yeah, it was. And let's be completely honest. I'm gonna start it off here. My nephew Percocet, young Elijah, he dropped the ball. As a lot of you guys might understand, most of us Lost Boy members, we are in parties a lot of the time, and I can experience firsthand Perk telling Logan he was going to blow him out. Words come back to haunt him, as by halftime the score was 17-0, and then the fourth quarter 31-0 at the end of the game. Perk just couldn't find anything going for him, as he only had 100 offensive yards gained in the entire game.
kind of crazy.
He had 6 first downs to Logan's 14. I'm almost certain Logan, and it's weird because both of them had pretty good time of possessions. Perk having 12, almost 13 minutes. Logan having 15 minutes. So he definitely had a chance to do things in this game. He just couldn't execute. So I guess that sucks for him. I guess Jake could go back to the QB play.
Yeah, I expected here this was the game of the week. I thought it was going to be a really close one. This was supposed to be the Lamar versus Pat rivalry, but with the big blockbuster trade happening between Braden and Perk earlier in the season that included Aaron Donald, the best defensive tackle in the league, Jalen Ramsey, the best young cornerback in the league, and also including Jared Goff to replace Patrick Mahomes. Many people thought Perk got the upper hand in this deal, that Braden obviously...
Not me.
Exactly. Some people also feel as though Braden definitely won that deal by Patrick Mahomes being obviously the best offensive player in the game outside of Tyreek Hill.
This is a game, and in a game you need offense in Madden. I don't think you trade the best or second best quarterback, how you look at it, for Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald. I don't think you trade for them because, one, they're two defensive players and you got smoked 31-0. They clearly haven't done anything in this game to stop Lamar Jackson. So, in my opinion, I feel like you keep Patrick Mahomes. Definitely.
Not only that, I think he lost the deal because now during the offseason, he got to sign somebody. He can't sign them. He had no cap space. All three of them got
Goff has a really crazy contract. But you know, Donald got money, and then Ramsey's
getting paid next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
But going to the quarterback play real quick. Lamar Jackson, 100 QBR, 127, 9 of 13. No sacks whatsoever, no INTs. Didn't reach the end zone throughout the air at all. Just pretty even Steven throughout the entire game. But Jared Goff struggled mightily. A QBR of 13.8. I don't know if you get any lower than that. 85 yards. Not even that. 4 INTs. 5 completions. Almost had as many INTs as completions in this one. 5 of 15, 2 sacks. Just couldn't move the ball whatsoever, even with Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, and the other weapons that he has at his disposal. J.K. Dobbins, 29 carries, a $143, 2 touchdowns, led the way for Baltimore in this one. Leonard Fournette locked up in this one, 15 carries for 36 yards. Lamar Jackson didn't score throughout the air, but did it on the ground, joining J.K. Dobbins twice in the end zone as well. Going to receiving end, J.K. Dobbins once again leading the way. 5 catches, 52 yards. Tyreek Hill, 3 for 51, tying with Hollywood Brown on the opposing team. Other than that, it was a pretty quiet game throughout the air in this one. Sacks for Frank Clark and Chris Jones in a revenge game against the Kansas City Chiefs. And the INT department filled plenty by the Baltimore Ravens. Marcus Peters, Chuck Clark, Patrick Queen, and former Kansas City Chief Juan Thornhill, and Joe Schobert getting the lone pick off Trace McSorley late in the fourth quarter.
Before this game is over, I would like to say that the Leonard Fournette stats that's not Leonard Fournette. Those were Alvin Kamara's. He had
True.
Alvin Kamara was 15 for 36 for 2 yards average. And I think it was another person. I know that was it, but yeah, those right there, pretty good game. Pretty good game for the Ravens. Chiefs, no.
Yeah,
You could see who lost that trade.
I'm
Game.
clearly.
very very one-sided game, surprisingly. Which Lamar didn't do a lot of passing, but as we all know, Ravens very run heavy.
Still
team.
like to note he didn't have a passing touchdown at this time in 2 weeks. I don't know if he scored a passing touchdown in week 1, but Lamar didn't throw a touchdown for 2 weeks in a row.
Since you're here, Logan, back-to-back games of the week early on this season. How did you get a little bit of motivation playing Mikiey and kind of used it towards Perk? And were you surprised Perk came out the way he did in this one? Did you expect more out of him?
Well, to be honest, I used motivation from the group chat from Perk, saying he was gonna box J.K. Dobbins and he wasn't gonna do anything. So
makes sense.
I used that as motivation.
And obviously came out in your favor.
That people, the school of shit talking, y'all will learn later in this recap. Shit talking always doesn't help a person out because it can definitely backfire.
Definitely. Some people just they need that fire lit under them, and then after that it's could get bad for you. But going to week 4, game of the week. This one was pretty highly anticipated, shall I say, for myself. I played Big Meats. What is it, 007 from the Green Bay Packers. He's a very run-heavy guy. Last time I played him, it was in my last league, the Madden Curse. He had Corey Grant, as he does now. He's very successful with them. He runs crazy. He just rushes them into the floor, honestly. I knew he was just going to come with that same attack in this one. I have a much better overall team with my Philadelphia Eagles in this one. This one was an absolute shootout. It was just complete back and forth in this one. Very intense game. I knew I had to come with my A game, and came out in my favor, honestly. To go here, by the time halftime hit, it was 31-28. 31-28 at halftime, complete. Yeah, I think if you guys go back to the stream, I made a major mistake that came out in my favor. I had about like 6 seconds left, and I was about at like his 30-yard line. Instead of just kneeling it and kicking the field goal, I ran another run play with Devontae Freeman, and just somehow someone got like a 30 rushing yard touchdown, which made obviously the big difference heading to the fourth quarter. But heading in late in this game, I could tell you off the bat, he was just very repetitive in his passing attack. His rushing game, even though he had more rushing yards than me, I could just tell. Passing wise, did not have a lot of success outside of the 3 touchdowns for Aaron Rodgers. 250, 3 touchdowns, 5 INTs. He only completed 5 passes the entire game. So that shows you right there. Even though he had 3 touchdowns, a lot of those being deep bombs off wheel routes. Carson Wentz, though, he was just on one. 327, 4 touchdowns, 2 INTs, 9 of 18, completing 50% of his passes. But both these guys, yards per completion attempt, 18.2 per attempt for Carson Wentz, 16.7. So these guys were just humming it every time. They would just attempt one through the air. Corey Grant, though, 13 touches, $177, 2 touchdowns for him. Devontae Freeman, who's currently MVP frontrunner right now, 24 carries, $174, 2 touchdowns for Freeman in this one. Naheem Hines chiming in a bit, 5 for 46. Devontae Adams, 2 catches, $149, 2 touchdowns for him in this one. Marquise Goodwin, 3 for $132, 2 touchdowns. D-Jack joining him as well, over 100 yards, and a touchdown as well. Scantlin and Jalen Rager, all joining him in the end zone in this one, in a complete shootout in Lambeau Field. Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, only ones with sacks in this one, but INTs. Will Parks, the Philly man himself, coming through, leading the way with 2 himself. L'Jarius Sneed, Adrian Amos, Nickel Roby-Coleman, Malcolm Jenkins, Darius Slade Jr., and Jimmy Smith. Other than that, yeah, this game, I can tell you off the bat, really intense game. It's probably my favorite game the entire season.
You
This is
mentioned the 2 touchdowns on defense.
whoa, yeah. There was a defensive touchdown that I ended up throwing in this one that I was kicking myself crazy for because I think it was second quarter that ended up giving them the lead. I was up at one point in the game, believe 21-7, 24-7. He ended up coming back, which is crazy, like 27, yeah, like 28-24, and then I scored right before halftime. It was a real crazy one, but defensive touchdown I had, I think, was probably the last play of the game. Yeah, I think it was the last play of the game, if I'm not mistaken. It was definitely fourth quarter though. But yeah, this was, outside of Shaq coming up this week, it was definitely the game of the year that I was looking forward to most, just to get my revenge on Packers. I kind of know what to expect from him from now on. He's not real pass heavy. Definitely likes to be run committed. You take away his run game, he's gonna struggle with throw out the air. So I knew that going into halftime, and yeah, I just took charge. But enough about that game. Heading into week 5 though, game of the week was it PJ and Ngakwe? Pretty close game here. I mean, both these guys are pretty solid users, of course, but heading into halftime, it was 10-7.
Mm-hmm.
You there? We're running with technical difficulties right now.
Alright, hold on. You guys are gonna have to take over. I got a call real quick.
Alright.
I got you. Going into halftime, Tampa Bay and New Orleans score was 10-7 in favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Second half, though, completely different story. Ngakwe stepped his play up on the field, getting 10 points in the third quarter and getting 2 touchdowns in the fourth, which beating PJ 31-25. Go over the stats, Lou.
Jay, go over the stat.
Lou, he's not here.
I can't go over the stat. Oh, you want me to go over the stat?
Yeah.
Oh. You got Tom Brady going for 240 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 INTs. He also got 2 sacks. That's how many times he got sacked. Completion, he had 54%. Jameis Winston taking on a revenge game for the Tampa Buccaneers, not signing him last offseason, to 58 yards, 2 INTs, and he only completed 33% for passing. On the rushing, you had Clyde Edwards, 14 attempts, 137 yards. He averaged 10 yards per game per carry. He also had 1 touchdown. Ronald Jones had 11 attempts, 50 yards, no touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And Latavius Murray with 3 attempts, 40 yards, 1 touchdown. And you also had Sean Vaughn with 9 touches, 27 carries, no touchdown. Mikiey Harmon with a rush, 9 yards, and 1 touchdown. You also had Tom Brady with 2 attempts, 19 yards as well.
Mm-hmm. I got passing. Going over the receiving stats, Cooper Kupp, first game in Tampa Bay, 3 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Godwin joining in, 2 receptions, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty sure the only 2 touchdowns. Oh, no. 1 reception, 24 yards for Mike Evans. So the 3 Tampa Bay receivers getting in on touchdowns this game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire for the New Orleans Saints, 2 receptions, 55 yards, no touchdowns. And yeah, Mikiey Hartman, 1 reception, 3 yards, no touchdowns. So it seems like this game, Ngakwe definitely won I'm guessing on the ground and defense. That's the only way to explain those two. So, going to defense, Marcus Williams leading the way, best defensive player on the field this game. He had 9 tackles, 3 assisted, 6 solos. Going over to sacks. 3 sacks this game. You got 2 coming from the Saints, Sheldon Rankins and Cameron Jordan. 1 coming from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Clay Matthews. Interceptions this game, you had a lot. Devin White, recently acquired by the Saints from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, getting 2 picks against his former team. Alex Anzalone, 1 interception. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, 1 interception. Jimmy Ward of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting 1 interception. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie returned to the field. He got 1 interception, and Kyle Duggar 1 interception. Let's see if there was any defensive touchdowns this game.
Kyle Duggar did. He had the punter touchdown with that pick.
So, judging by this game overall, it's a pretty close game between 2 teams. It definitely seems like that NFC South is a place to pay attention to. He definitely did his thing. He had the most yards in his game. This was definitely his game to win, but it also was his game to lose. Judging by his costly turnovers were being the unfortunate outcome for a Gakwe win. If he just holds on to the ball and plays the way he was playing in that first half, his game turns out differently, but it didn't. So this was a pretty bad game, a pretty bad choke defeat. However, pretty sure PJ could bounce back from it. That does the week 5 game of the week. Going into week 6, pretty interesting game of the week between the 49ers and the Rams. Unfortunately, now it does say the Rams is a computer team, does the Braden. Braden, unfortunately, couple nano blitzes, and he left the league. He didn't want to take his suspension, which, I mean, you might as well take the suspension. And while we're here talking about the nano blitzes, I would like to point out the fact that he was the one bragging about it being blockable, but then one Shaq ran the blitzes against him. His cornerback had 6 sacks, so I guess it wasn't that blockable if you think about it. Going in the game of the week, though, Peter Finn and Big B Stas. Peter Finn definitely gets the win, 49-28. He scored 21 points in 2 quarters, the second and fourth. Going into halftime, Peter was up 28-7. Third quarter, Braden starts off with a lone touchdown. Fourth quarter, Peter continues the second quarter dominance, scoring that quarter 21-14. Peter this game won 3 quarters, the first, second, and fourth, which comes to his outcome in 49-28 over the Rams. The Niners, 468 offensive yards to the Rams, 329. Passing-wise, the Niners beat out the Rams. The Rams were a pretty pass-heavy team at the time, and they also beat out on the rushing. Rams, crazily, had 16 first downs to Peter's 13, which isn't great. I mean, it's not great that you had those first downs and you end up losing the game, but it is what it is. Big B Stas, 5 turnovers to Peter's 1. He also had more third down conversions. Peter was 100% completion, 100% in the red zone. Braden, 80%. Time of possession, Braden, most time with 17 minutes and 17 seconds to Peter's 10 minutes and 43 seconds. Going over to QB play. Jimmy G being the best QB on the field this week, surprisingly, going up against Patrick Mahomes. He had 375 passing yards, almost 400, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. His longest was 69 yards. 69. He was sacked twice. He threw 17 passes for 16 completions on 94%. Patrick Mahomes, not a great game to remember. He had 357 yards. While that being great, he also had 4 interceptions on 3 touchdowns. His longest pass was 28 yards. He was sacked 1 time. He threw 43 times. to 26 for the completion percentage of 60. Average yards per attempt, he had 8. So it seems like drag routes, hitch routes was his bread and butter this game. Yeah, you keep doing stuff like that, a person's going to adapt to it and definitely start making you look foolish this game. So I'm going over the rushing stats. Tevin Coleman, 15 attempts, 107 yards, 2 touchdowns, no fumbles. Longest run was 33 yards. Cam Akers of the Los Angeles Rams, 11 rushes, 42 yards, 3 yards per attempt, 18 yards was his longest run. Patrick Mahomes getting in on the fun, two attempts, 12 yards, and a touchdown. So he tried it every which way he possible, passing, rushing. He couldn't get the job done at the end of the day. Going over the receptions, I think 6th pick of the 2015 NFL Draft, Mike Williams, 3 receptions, 117 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Acquired by the Chargers at that.
Acquired by the Chargers, so he had a very good game. Andy Isabella coming over from the Arizona Cardinals. He had 6 receptions, 132, no touchdowns. Paris Campbell coming from the Indiana Colts, 6 receptions, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. George Kittle, 5 receptions, 81 yards. Tevin Coleman on a wheel route, 2 receptions, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. Deebo Samuel, quiet game, 2 receptions, 28 yards for the 14 average. And Nick Vannett, 1 reception, 23 yards. I'm pretty sure that was a play that got him into the red zone. And finally, last touchdown this game, Cam Akers. 1 reception, 9 yards for the long touchdown. Let's go over the defense. Fred Warner being the best defensive player on the field this game. He had 6 tackles. Behind him was David Long Jr. and behind him was Leonard Floyd. Let's go over the tackles for losses. You had 2 tackles for losses this game, both coming from the Rams. Leonard Floyd, acquired by the Texans, he had 1 tackle for loss. Nick Vigil had a tackle for loss. Sacks this game. Leonard Floyd, being an all-around beast this game, had 1 sack. Kawan Williams, 1 sack. Troy Hill, 1 sack. And the interceptions, we had 5 of them, it seems like. Yeah, we had 5. 2 from Carlton Davis III, 1 from Kawan Williams, 1 from David Long Jr., and 1 from Jaquiski Tartt. Any touchdowns coming into this game defensively? We do have 1 defensive touchdown from Carlton Davis. That sums up this game. My opinion, it wasn't close in the beginning. Braden definitely tried to make it close, but then also 4th quarter hit and he ran out of steam. He couldn't get it under control. So, man, it was a good game from Peter Finn. That was a great game showing signs. That NFC West is a pretty tough division for Peter to get a win like that. It's pretty big. Going to week 7. Logan, are you here?
Logan not here. He went to eat.
Okay, Logan's not here. Going over to week 7. Week 7, game of the week. Juju, your boy member, versus the Titans, who at the time I'm pretty sure was undefeated. Yeah, it was 17-14 going into halftime. Pretty even game throughout the entire game. A pretty even competition or whatever you got going
real
on
close
here.
Game out of that. Winning by 3 points.
Yep. You got Juju, 312 offensive yards to the Tennessee Titans, 233 offensive yards. Juju won in the both passing and rushing yards, also getting the most first downs. Yeah, it's a pretty good game. Titans turned the ball over 3 times, probably cost him the victory here. Juju having 2 turnovers, he kept it pretty mellow. Titans having more 3rd down conversions and even a 4th down conversion, so playing pretty ballsy here. It didn't turn out in his victory, but he definitely showed that he's gonna fight. Both of them being 100% in the red zone. Juju getting his 3 touchdowns in the red zone, and the Titans getting his 2 touchdowns in the red zone. Going over to QB play, Easton Stick. A lot of people question why Easton Stick is the guy here. Um, I say let Juju be Juju. He knows what he's doing.
I don't know
You
about
know.
that. He traded in Justin Herbert.
Yeah, he traded Justin Herbert, but he it's his offense. He's trying to run the Cam Newton offense. You can't run the Cam Newton offense with Justin Herbert, but he got it with Easton Stick. Easton Stick having 181 passing yards, 1 touchdown, and unfortunately 2 interceptions. His longest pass went for 79 yards. He was sacked 1 completion because he had 10 attempts, 7 completion. Going down, Cam Newton, who's been an overall pretty good quarterback this year. He didn't have a great game. He had 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, longest pass going for 86. He was sacked twice. He threw the ball 13 times, getting a completion percent. He getting 8 completions for 61% completion percentage. Going over to rushing, I guess this is where the game definitely takes over. Austin Eckler, one of the most underrated running backs in all of football, had 14 attempts, 120 yards on 8 yard per average, 2 touchdowns. Derrick Henry, the one of the best running backs in all of the league. He's actually in contention for MVP. I think he's fourth right now. He had 19 carries, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Easton Stick getting in. He had 7 attempts, 18 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. That definitely didn't help. And Carlos Hyde, 2 attempts, 4 yards. Wasn't really a factor, but mentioned it anyway. Corey Davis, a top pick in his draft class. He kind of been a disappointment, but in this game he had 4 receptions, 95 yards for 23 average and 1 touchdown. Keenan Allen leading the way for the Chargers. 4 receptions, 80 yards, no touchdowns. Austin Eckler, he can do it both, running, receiving. 1 reception, 80 yards, and a touchdown. And if anybody watched the game, you seen that was probably one of the most beautiful passes Easton Stick could have made for him to go up and get the ball. That was a pretty good game for Austin Eckler. Anthony Frisker, no touchdowns, but 1 reception, 25 yards. Hunter Henry, he's a really good tight end. He only had 1 reception for 24 yards. And Jonnu Smith, 1 reception, 19 yards. Going over to defense. Kevin Bayard, the best defensive player on the field, definitely had 6 tackles. Tackles for losses department was led by Jack Crawford. He had 3. Kamali Correa had 1. Denzel Perryman had 1. Melvin Ingram 1. Drew Tanquill 1. And Harold Landry 1. So it's a pretty defensive game, to say the least. Sacks, you had 2 from who else? Joey Bosa. They're showing he's still the best defensive player on that team that's not named Derwin James. Kenny Vaccaro of the Tennessee Titans had a sack. That was a pretty big sack coming from him from the safety spot all the way down. Kevin Bayard, mentioned him earlier. He had an interception. Derwin James, mentioned him earlier, also an interception. Chris Harris Jr. an interception. Malcolm Butler an interception. Trevon Diggs an interception.
That Malcolm Butler was a pick 6.
A pick 6 from Malcolm Butler. He had the only touchdown coming from the defensive side this game. Pretty big game for Malcolm Butler. He tried to change the course for himself, but I don't know. Juju definitely held on to it. He showed that he was going to win the game. He did it convincingly, so pretty big game for Juju. That was game of the week for week 7. Going over to week 8. Week 8's game of the week was between, I'm pretty sure, oh yeah, Per 2K and the Green Bay Packers. This game, pretty big game for Perk. His second time being game of the week. He definitely showed a little bit more fight in this game of the week against a pretty big opponent in Big Meats 007, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He showed straight out the game, Perk, going up 24-7 at halftime. just completely it was a shutout the first half. He scored 3 points in the third. In the final quarter, Big Meats gets himself a touchdown in the fourth. Perk, I think that was a touchdown and a missed field goal. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Offensive yards game, Perk, 360 to Big Meats 140. Rushing yards, 88 for Perk, 11 for the rushing man himself. Big Meats, and passing 271 yards against 126 for the Packers. So, I mean, wasn't a great game for the Packers. Definitely Perk played against his advantage. He going over the QB play. Jared Goff had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 INTs. He was sacked 4 times. He had a completion percentage of 59.
All right.
But Aaron Rodgers, the legend.
Let me stop you right there real quick. They had to play the game twice.
Twice?
They had to play it twice. Because the first game, they were both assuming that each other were cheating. Packers used cover 4 like multiple times, and Perk had run supposedly the same offense 3 times in a row. So then they decided to play later that day, and that's what leads up to this.
Right. Okay. Well, it seemed like, I don't know, but it seems like the cheating stuff gotta stop in this league. We're gonna get to more about that later in this recap. But yeah, definitely I guess it was good they ran the game back. Not so good in the Packers' favor, so I don't know. Aaron Rodgers, though, the legend. Somebody consider him to be the best quarterback ever. He definitely ran the league for a long time. He's one of the most consistent, really good quarterback. In this game, 40 QBR is not great, and it won't win you a game. 151 yards, 1 touchdown to 6 INTs. He threw the ball 18 times, getting 5 completions for 27%. He was sacked twice. His longest pass went for 79 yards, most likely a bomb, I'm guessing, to Valdez Scantling or Corey Grant. So, yeah, let's get into rushing. Rushing-wise, Leonard Fournette. This is actually Leonard Fournette. 21 rushes, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Pretty big game for him. Jared Goff, 1 rush, 12 yards, no touchdown. Corey Grant, 6 attempts for only 6 yards and a touchdown. It wasn't great for him. Aaron Jones tried to provide a spark. 1 attempt for 5 yards. No rushing coming from the Packers this game. Tyreek Hill, pretty big game for him. 5 receptions, 126 for 2 touchdowns, 25 average. Devontae Adams, I guess he probably was the one who got the bomb. Most likely, yeah, he probably was the one who got the bomb. 3 receptions, 114 yards, 38 average, and a touchdown. Emmanuel Sanders coming over from, I think, the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah.
He had 3 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Taylor Gabriel, the free agent signing, 2 receptions, 53 yards, 26 average, and a bunch of fillers coming from the Packers with Marquise Valdez-Scantling getting 25 yards and Devin Funchess getting 12. Jordan Reed from the Redskins, he getting himself 10 yards.
Now imagine trading Miko Harmon for Emmanuel Sanders.
Well, Emmanuel Sanders stepped up in this game. I don't know. Me personally, Miko would be my receiver, but Perk seems to know what he could possibly be doing with Taylor Gabriel, Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah. So going over to defense, Ibrahim Campbell from the Packers, best defensive player on the field. He had 9 tackles. Behind him was Christian Kirksey with 7, and behind him was Kenny Clark with 6. Going over to tackle for losses, Zadarius Smith with the big 2, Kenny Clark with 1, Odrin Burks with 1, and Ladarius Sneed 1. Sacks in this game, Zadarius Smith being all around the field. He had 2 sacks along with the 2 TFLs. Kenny Clark, he had 1 sack with the 1 TFL. Tyrann Mathieu, a sack coming from the safety spot. Aaron Donald, a sack. he was a pretty big part in this game, kind of stopping the run about one time and having one sack. So still, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think Perk won the trade. He feels like he have, but in the long run, he'll realize that the quarterback play was a lot better than
Yeah,
one
not only
sack.
that, he also has Calais Campbell on the team.
Exactly.
Calais Campbell's not doing nothing on this team.
Exactly. Preston Smith, last person to get a sack in this game from the Packers. Interception wise, pretty sure we went over. Well, we going over interceptions now. Tyrann Mathieu with one, Willie Gay Jr. with one, James Bradbury one, Adrian Amos one, King one, Jalen Ramsey his only interception with one. Daniel Sorensen one, and Earl Thomas the third with one. I don't think there was any defensive touchdowns in this game, and there wasn't.
There wasn't.
There wasn't. So overall, this game was a pretty big game for both teams. Packers is a title contender, playoff contender. Perk, he had to take a couple of forced losses. Unfortunately, his account was suspended in the beginning of this league. So
Not once, but twice.
yeah, his account got suspended twice, and he will be taking a forced loss this week to one Juju. That was a game that was anticipated. We felt like Juju and Perk would have been a pretty good game. So I don't know, man. Judging by it, it's a pretty good game from both teams. Perk just edged it out more. That was your game of the week for week 8. Going into week 9, a lot of good matchups. There was, but there's only one game of the week.
What game was that?
One game of the week. Sorry for that. Controller died. Only one game of the week, and that was Juju and Big Meats. Yeah, Big Meats coming in for the second time in game of the weekend. I guess he used his anger from the week previous in this game because he scored both first quarters were scoreless. Turns out to be a defensive game in that first quarter. Second quarter, Big Meats took over. 24-7. That was the score at halftime. Third quarter, he scores again with his lone field goal. Fourth quarter, he wins the quarter 14-7. Offensive yards gained, 394 for Big Meat, 240 for Juju. Rushing, I'm guessing Corey Grant, 305. Passing, Juju wins that with 192. Let's get into the QB play. Easton Stick, not a bad game for him, so I'd try to figure out how they lost this game. He had 199 yards, rounded up 200 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 INT, longest going for 63. He was sacked once. He threw 18 times, completing 11 of them for 61 completion percentage. Aaron Rodgers, not a great game, but not a bad game. 109 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 32 being his longest. He was sacked 3 times. He threw the ball 10, completing it for 6, giving him the completion percentage of 60. On over to rushing. Corey Grant, 26 yards, 305, 2 touchdowns on an 11-yard average. Pretty big game for him. Austin Eckler, like I said, he was an underrated running back, but he can be stopped. 9 attempts for 50 yards. Quick break. Who came back to the party? Is that Jay?
I don't think so.
Logan?
Well, I guess we'll be hearing things.
It's cool. Mercedes Lewis, 6 receptions, 109 yards, 18-yard average, and 2 touchdowns. Hunter Henry, big game for him. 4 receptions, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. Keenan Allen, a pretty big game for him. 5 receptions, 76 yards, and 1 touchdown. Antonio Gates tried to get in and help his team out. He had 1 reception, 21 yards, no touchdowns. Brandon Ayuk, recently acquired from one Peter Finn. He had 1 reception for 17 yards. Big game for him. Defense. Michael Kendrick, the former Eagle, should have been a Super Bowl champion. I don't know. Maybe he was a part of that team. I don't know. Michael Kendrick had 10 tackles. 2 tackle for losses. Vontez Burfict, a tackle for loss. Tyler Lancaster, 2 tackle for loss. Preston Smith, 2 tackle for loss. Linval Joseph, the dude who used to play for the Minnesota Vikings, 2 tackle for losses. Melvin Ingram, 2 tackle for losses. Dean Lowry, a tackle. Kevin King coming from that cornerback spot to get a tackle for loss. Zadarius Smith a tackle for loss, and Wesley Woodyard rounds that out for a tackle for loss. Sacks in this game. Melvin Ingram, Derwin James, and Kenneth Murray leads the way for the Los Angeles Chargers, all getting 1 sack. Kenny Clark, only person in Green Bay getting a sack. Interceptions. Derwin James, he had a big game. He had a sack. He had an interception. He had 5 tackles. He probably could have prevented the outcome of this game, but I don't know. It was a pretty bad blowout. Who knows? Jair Alexander getting an interception. Going over to touchdowns? Don't know. Oh, Jair Alexander getting a touchdown, defensive touchdown. That's pretty crazy. Going over the final stats of this game, just the overall take of it. A pretty bad blowout, 41-14. Juju knows he's better than that. He bounces back all the time. It was a pretty good game for big meets, but Juju knows that to represent your boys, he's gonna step up play next time, definitely. The dog, he always bounce back. Week 10, game of the week for week 10. It was a controversial game. Excuse my language, bro. This game pissed a lot of people off. I'm pretty sure Lewis was there. He seen it firsthand. This game pissed a lot of people off. Baltimore Ravens, new user versus Liverpool and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, before I hop into this game, I want to just tell everybody, I don't pick sides. None of the Lost Boy members, we don't have favoritism. If anything, Perk wasn't showing favoritism for the Baltimore Ravens. Perk is friends with Liverpool. Like, they're always in parties together, so the favoritism shit, that could cut out. I just want y'all to know, we didn't want the game to go down the way it does. People need to realize this is a game and to not take it as serious. No game I play I take as serious to the point where I want to start shit talking a bunch of people and like just make it seem like they're ass at something when, like, at the end of the day, bro, you're just playing a video game, right? We try to have fun, keep it competitive, yeah, but don't bring like weak shit into an argument, because that was just bad. This game of the week, though, it was pretty controversial. The Ravens he was in scoring range in the first game. He was on the 35-yard line of one Liverpool. He was already up 14-7 at that point, and I guess Liverpool had lagged out. A lot of people say he quit. A lot of people say he lagged out. Who knows? We actually don't have proof of either one. Gakwe did provide proof going into the second game.
Said he has proof, but
it was bad proof, but it was the second game he was lagging. It was bad. Who knows? The Ravens also said that it's pretty weird going in that first game. If you don't, it comes up if a person's lagging. It definitely does. It says your opponent is lagging. Sometimes it says you are lagging. It comes up though. Liverpool.
It actually says opponent for both sides.
Exactly.
So you can't really tell who's lagging, which I think that's Madden's fault. I think Madden should be fixing that part and telling people who is lagging and who's not.
Yep. Liverpool though, they ran it back. His case, I'm gonna let y'all know now. If this was me, and I know a lot of people in this league, Shaq of the Seahawks, Jay, even Lewis doesn't take this game serious at all. Logan, Perk, your boy members, we don't take force wins if some shit like that happen. We actually let our nuts hang and play the game back because, again, this is a game. We're just here to have fun, be competitive still, but have fun. We're going to run the game back. So, they played 2 quarters in the second game. Liverpool ends up winning that game. Comes down to controversy because the Ravens actually says that he won the spread, which I hate to tell a grown man how spread works, but if in the second game, if Liverpool gives you your 2 touchdowns that you had in the first game, and you give him his 1 touchdown, you guys aren't playing by the spread anymore. No, you're not playing by the spread anymore. If you quit out in the second quarter, you're not playing by the spread anymore, because you claimed, and I'm talking to the Ravens here, you claimed to have won the spread 24 to whatever Liverpool had. Bro, he gave you your 2 touchdowns from the first game, and you didn't score at all in the second game. So you don't get those points. You don't have 28 points. You don't win the game 28 to 24. That's not how a spread works, my boy. A spread works is if Liverpool was down 7 in that first game, and y'all playing 2 quarters. If Liverpool scores 2 touchdowns, he doesn't have 7 no more. He has 21 to your 14. That's how the spread works. So, the second game was a bust, and to announce everybody, if there is problems going on, we have announced the Lost Boy Court. They, unfortunately, was the first case of the Lost Boy Court in which the Ravens won the first poll due to the jury. He won the first poll, Liverpool won the second poll. And listen, like I said in my big statement, and I think league news, us commissioners, we don't make decisions by ourselves. There's 5 commissioners. The shit was split down the middle. Jay was the tiebreaker. Lewis felt like the Ravens should have won the game. Perk felt like the Ravens should have won the game. I'm not going to lie. I felt like Liverpool should have won the game. And Logan felt like Liverpool should have won the game. Jay made the executive decision in saying fair sim, which then we all agreed on a fair sim. It's not like we all voted for the Ravens to win, and we didn't vote for Liverpool to win. This is a group decision between all Lost Boy members. This isn't one of us saying this happens and it's final. So, unfortunately, this game of the week, which should have been a great game of the week, turned out being a fair sim in which the Ravens won. I don't know what to say, dude. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing that. Your Lost Boy Court, it was fun.
Yeah,
I like to hear
the bench charge out here. After chaos, Make sure you follow me on YouTube.
and to respond to some people, the Lost Boys weren't the jury. We're not the jury. We were the judges. The jury was the league. That was your choice in picking who won that case. And like I said, the first poll went to the Ravens. We shouldn't have done a second poll after that, but we did, and Liverpool won it. So, a little bad rant coming from me in this game. I hate the fact that this game was wasted by a fair sim.
Yeah.
But shit happens because people let it happen. This shouldn't happen again. I encourage everybody out there to have the competitive nature. Yo, if a nigga lags out of the game, run it back.
Just run it back.
If y'all don't want to play the spread, run the game back. First of all, you're not going to play a spread and not know what a spread is. So just run all 4 quarters back. If you feel you're just way better than your opponent, don't bitch about it. Run it back. Run the bitch back, because come on, bro. It was lame as hell that we had to go through all of that, bro.
Know something? I fucked up with my first loss. So Viking was supposed to win that game. I gave them a fourth one because I can't play. I won by 3 points through Pearson. So I just want to put it out there, So don't blame me, Vikings. It wasn't me. I ain't do shit.
Yeah, I fucked up. That's my fault. I could have gave him a fair swim. A fourth swim. I could have gave you your fourth swim. That was me. My fault. Now, just to get it out the way.
Back to the Ravens.
Just to get that out the way. And to the Ravens point, Ravens, you shouldn't come into a league talking shit and then not being able to back it up. Because Liverpool felt like he lagged out, and you had no proof that he quit. Just like he had no proof that he lagged out. Next time, just play the game, bro. Like Liverpool also did something. Liverpool also did something kind of scummy in some people's eyes. He ran the game back with a different playbook.
That,
Um,
I mean, there's no rule against that. Saying that he
there's no
couldn't.
rule against that, but he ran the game. He ran the game back with a different playbook. And the Ravens, he felt like that was just bad. Um, I don't know, man. Yeah, I want to let
To be
everybody
fair,
know.
it's not fair to the other user because Ravens had to wait 2 hours. 2 hours for Liverpool to come back and play a game. And he was assuming that Liverpool was practicing the new playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Can't assume something you got no proof. No proof,
Mm-hmm.
no win.
And final thing on this. We do not want another Week 10 game of the week like that ever again. Ever again. Don't ever do that again. But yeah, it's a pretty big game for them. It was just ruined. So who knows? Going into Week 11. Now, Week 11 is not over. However, some forced wins have been given out. If you have not played your game, message your opponent and start playing your games because kicks will be happening soon. People will start getting booted. So just play your game, show you're active. My guy Lewis is going to make an active tab. Check into it, show you're active, and come on, man, play your games, get it over with. If you're not active, you'll get booted, but we're going to go over the game of the week. We're not going to go over the game of the week. We're just going over the games, starting with the first game of Week 11. You got the Jacksonville Jaguars. New user for the Jacksonville Jaguars, Jay Humper 69. It's a pretty weird name.
Hey, Jay,
versus Shaq Jr. Henny Jr. Jr. Will, his little brother. Will's first getting into Madden competitively. He first time being in a league. This is his big break. He unfortunately lost this game 24-17 going into halftime. The Jacksonville Jaguars was up 21-10. Will scores his only touchdown. Will scores his second touchdown in the fourth. Jacksonville put it away though with the field goal. Yeah. Offensive yards gained this game. Will had 260. He's a very good passer. He had 153 yards. Jacksonville, 133 rushes. Pretty big game for him. Turnovers, once again, deciding the fate of a game. Will, 4 turnovers. Can't let that happen in such a close game. Loses the game by a touchdown. He takes those turnovers away. It might be a more competitive game. In the red zone, Will was in the red zone 3 times. He only converted twice, which explains the 66 completion percentage. Jacksonville, red zone 1 time, 1 field goal, puts it away. Yeah, pretty big game. Going over to QB play. Gardner Minshew Jr. He had 135 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. He was sacked twice. Phillip Rivers, the vet, 177 yards, 4 INTs. Not a great game for him at all. Cut those turnovers down. Like I said, different game altogether. Alvin Kamara, the difference maker. 14 carries, 133 yards, 9 average, a touchdown. Pretty big game for him.
Traded by the Chiefs.
Yep, new acquisition by the Chiefs for Leonard Fournette. Pretty big acquisition for Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe that's their building block and who they could build around going forward. Big game for him. Jonathan Taylor, 16 carries, 99 yards. Not a terrific game, but a great game for him. He had 6 average, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Wilkins, 2 attempts, 8 yards for 4 average. Going over receptions, T.Y. Hilton, 3 receptions, 66 yards, 22 average. DJ Chark, 4 receptions, 60 yards, 15. Alshon, 4 receptions, 57 yards, no touchdown. And Tyler Eifert, the only receiving touchdown, 3 receptions, 50 yards, 16.7 average, 1 touchdown. Going over the defense. Best defensive player, hands down, Miles Jack. 7 tackles, 1 TFL. Going over the tackles for losses, Zaire Franklin, 3 of them for the Indiana Colts. 2 of them. Xavier Rhodes 1. Malik Hooker 1. Justin Houston 1. Anthony Walker Jr. 1. Al Woods 1. And Gerard Wilson 1. So all this defense coming from Indiana couldn't win them the game, guys. It's like I say, offense wins championships in Madden. This isn't real life. Offense is the best side of the ball. I'm letting y'all know that now. Yannick Ngakwe, 2.5 sacks. He had a sack and a half, which explains the 0.5. He had a sack and a half shared with Eric Reed. And 2 sacks for Jabal Sheard. Going over the INTs, Sky Moore, 2. CJ Henderson, the Rook, 2. Ronnie Harrison, second-year pro out of Alabama, 1. And Aqib Talib, the vet, 1. Any touchdowns this game defensively? No. No touchdown defensively. That does the game for Jacksonville and the Indiana Colts. Going over. Decisive. It's decisive. But he's a vet when it comes to these J leagues. What up, Jay? We in week 11.
You can't just come in here.
We're in week 11, Jay, on the second game between Bills and Dolphins. So it's decisive. Being a vet in these J leagues. He's the Buffalo Bills going up against the Miami Dolphins user who had an up and down year so far. But he definitely gets the dub this game, going up 14-7 at halftime, and then scoring 9 points to decisive 7 in week 4. The Miami Dolphins had 248 offensive yards gained to the Bills, 230. Jeez. Passing wise, decisive did his thing, 209. Rushing wise, Dolphins 74 over decisive's 20. He also had more first downs. But the problem, decisive, again, like this causes another game. 6 turnovers. Turnovers is going to be the reason why a lot of people lose the game. He had 6 turnovers to the Dolphins 2. He completed 7 third down conversions. The Dolphins had 4. No fourth down conversions. Decisive 100% in the red zone with a touchdown. The Dolphins been to the red zone 3 times, only converting twice, which explains the 66. He had a touchdown and a field goal in the red zone. Going over the quarterback play, the Rook. Tua Tagovailoa, 211 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 INTs. 31 was his longest pass play. He threw the ball 18 times, having 12 completions for 66. That's good, pretty game-managing game for Tua. Josh Allen, the cannon, 250 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 6 INTs. 75 being his longest. He had 25 passes, completing 10 of them. That's not a great game so far for him. He only had completed the ball 40%. Both QBs were sacked 4 times, so they had a hell game. Rushing-wise, Jordan Howard. Acquisition, he coming over from Philadelphia. He had 63 yards on 15 carries, a touchdown, and a broken tackle. Khalifani Muhammad, 3rd-year pro out of California. 11 rushes, 18 yards. He averaged 1 yard per rush. Not great at all. Touchdown. Matt Breida, pretty quiet game for him. In fact, he's been quiet the entire year, which is surprising. Hey, Dolphins, if you're not going to hit him up, give him to me. Just saying. Going over the receptions, Robert Foster.
Did you ask for Matt Breida?
Yeah.
You don't need him. You got Chubb.
Hey, give me Breida. Robert Foster leads the way. Best wide receiver on the field this game. 6 receptions, 180 touchdown. Mike Gesicki, the tight end for the Dolphins, 4 reception, 95 yards, a touchdown on 23 average. Patrick DeMarco, a fullback, 3 receptions, 47 yards. Albert Wilson, quiet game for him, 2 for 32. Devontae Parker, 2 for 25. Jakeem Grant, 1 for 23. Jordan Howard, 2 for 20. I'm gonna let Jay do defense here. You got it.
You know what? I don't feel like doing. Say no. I'll take over.
Wow. Wow.
Imagine. This is your recap.
You know what?
You got us doing the 30 word.
Jeez, you know what? I had some business. to attend to, Lewis.
I think, you know what I think? I don't think it's just yours no more. I think it's the law boys now.
I agree. I agree. I'm fine with that.
Fucking asshole. Anyway,
Wow.
continue.
Leading the way in tackles, obviously Buffalo coming on strong defensively. 7 tackles for Ed Oliver, Mike Edwards, and Jordan Poyer, veteran safety out of Oregon State. As we go to the sack department here, 2 sacks for Ed Oliver leading the way. Kyle Van Noy coming over from the New England Patriots via free agency. 2 sacks from him as well. Mario Addison coming over from the Carolina Panthers, and Emmanuel Agba coming over from I want to say he was drafted by Cleveland, but he was drafted by Cleveland, but nah, he was with the Chiefs last year, wasn't he? Agba?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was with the Chiefs. Raekwon McMillan joining in on party as well with the single sack, and Voshon Joseph and Tremaine Edmonds half a sack apiece. As we go to INT, just a pick party for both sides. Mike Edwards with the pick, Eric Rowe, Tre'Davious White, Xavier Howard, Brandon Jones, Bobby McCain, Noah Igbenogany, and Byron Jones. Any defensive touchdowns, I'd be surprised if there weren't, and there aren't, despite the numerous amount of picks in this one. All field goal attempts coming in here. 3 for 3, perfect game from Jason Sanders from the Miami Dolphins. And yeah, that's all she wrote. Those field goals obviously made the difference for Miami in this one, as they get a much needed AFC East rivalry division win over the Buffalo Bills, 14-23 at home. As we travel all the way to Baltimore, Baltimore kind of got lucked out, as we just heard previously, in a very controversial fair sim win over Liverpool in the Cincinnati Bengals. But this week turned out much differently. 8-12 of the Houston Texans taking on Abraham is here of the Baltimore Ravens. And what more can I say here except complete shutout from start to finish. 21 points in the first half, 21 in the second, 42-0, complete shutout in this one. Baltimore did not have an answer for this Houston Texans defense. I mean, 379, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks, 14-19. Very, very good game for Deshaun Watson, as you much expected. Lamar Jackson, though, struggled mightily. 131, 13-19. Looks pretty, but 11 sacks. 11 sacks. Yeah, he took as much sacks in this one, almost as many completions. Insane amount of hits that he was taking. The only good thing that came out of this one for the Baltimore Ravens, though, Lamar Jackson, as you just saw, 11 sacks in this one, so he had to run for his life pretty much the entire game in this one. 12 carries, $125, although one of them being a fumble. Deshaun Watson getting in for his 5th touchdown on the day, 4 through the air, 1 on the ground. Outside of that, Houston did not utilize Duke Johnson much in this one, but Will Fuller, obviously, player of the week so far for the AFC. 7 receptions, 249, and a touchdown. This Baltimore, Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey had no answer for Will Fuller, the speedster out of Notre Dame. Kahali Waring, rookie tight end of San Diego State, 3 catches, 91 yards, and 2 touchdowns for him as well. Marquise Brown, 3 catches, 41 yards. That's about it. Brandon Cooks gets into the end zone as well. As we go to the defensive side of the ball, Leonard Williams coming over from the New York Giants, 5 sacks for him, leading the way for both teams. Timmy Jernigan, Bernardrick McKinney, 2 sacks apiece for them. Aaron Lynch and J.J. Watt with a single sack as well. Jake Ryan, Marcus Peters, single INTs for them. Only lone bright spots in this one for the Baltimore Ravens. No field goals in this one. Other than that, complete shutout from start to finish on both sides of the ball for the Houston Texans. Much needed win for them as they continue to surge and fight for a playoff spot in the AFC. As we go here, Gakwe looking really, really strong so far this season with only 1 loss this year. The New Orleans Saints taking on PJ of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who is had his well share of good victories so far this year, but a couple unexpected losses also on his part. A very, very close one. As if I'm not understanding, was this game of the week for this week? And Gakwe. As soon as I bring up Gakwe, thank you for tuning in, bro. Was this game of the week?
It was. It was. Perk was supposed to announce it, and he didn't. So everybody kind of sorry for that.
Facts. So yeah. Sorry for the misannouncement, but this was game of the week. PJ versus Gakwe, NFC South rivalry as well. Both of these teams, very good records, very good rosters intact. Both making a playoff push in a very, very competitive NFC playoff race. As we go here, halftime, Gakwe up 10-0. The only quarter that Tampa was able to get a leg up in this one was the third quarter, as they was able to reach the end zone. But Gakwe putting it away, getting to the end zone in the fourth, as PJ just did not have an answer for Jameis Winston and company. Jameis Winston, though, did not have the best of games in this one. 204, a single touchdown, 2 INTs, 14 of 20. Not the prettiest numbers as you see here, but Brady struggled even more, the GOAT himself. 168, a touchdown, 3 INTs, 9 of 17. Both these guys was just not an offensive game throughout the air for neither of these QBs. But Boston Scott, the former Philadelphia Eagle who's cut this season, 14 carries, 49 yards, who led the way for both teams rushing-wise in attempts and yards, but didn't manage much on the ground as well. Ronald Jones, 10 carries, 36 yards for the second round running back out of USC. Jameis Winston, 2 carries for 29 yards, surprisingly, even though one of them equal to a fumble. Tom Brady, surprisingly, got 2 rushing attempts for 7 yards. Other than that, Mecole Hardman coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs, 2 catches, 71 yards, and a touchdown leading the way for both teams. Cooper Kupp, lone reception, coming over from the LA Rams in a big trade earlier this season, 64 yards to the house. Maybe they could have used him quite a bit more in this one. Chris Godwin, 3 catches, 62 yards, and other than that, it was pretty quiet. Everybody chimed in a little bit, but no big yardage in this one. 3 sacks from the big acquisition via free agency during the preseason. Everson Griffin, 3 sacks leading the way for both teams. JPP, Kendall Beckworth, getting some sacks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Sheldon Rankins joining in on the fun as well with the lone sack. Levante David, the 7-year pro out of Nebraska, with 2 picks, coming up big in this one, just making life difficult for Winston, but that didn't hold back the New Orleans Saints from a victory in this one. Devin White, surprisingly, in a revenge game, first-round pick.
His second revenge game.
Facts. It's surprisingly enough was a kind of a bit of a head-scratching move for Devin White to get traded to an in-division rival at that, who's gonna have to see twice a year and possibly later in the postseason. Sack for himself for Devin White, Marcus Williams, and Marshawn Lattimore. Other than that, no defensive touchdown to my knowledge. I fucking lied. Devin White, of course, with the lone defensive touchdown in this one, firing back. I bet PJ must be kicking himself for making that mistake. Will Lutz, 2 field goal attempts, going half in this one. All he needed was one to make the difference in this one. Big win for Gakwe and the New Orleans Saints. And as we go here to possibly the biggest blowout of the week, Hoodie Mikiey of the Arizona Cardinals going on the road to take on in-division rival San Francisco 49ers, led by Peter Finn. And this one right here just wasn't close, as you see here indicated from the box score heading into halftime here. 23-7, and it didn't get any better other than that. Devin White is Defensive Player of the Year, I think, right now. How do you guys feel about that? That's what Gakwe said.
Devin White's had a pretty big year, definitely. I won't sleep on now I'm not trying to be biased and say he's not, right? Like, I want to, like, because if I say Isaiah Simmons is in there, I'm sounding biased because he's on my team. So it's like, yeah, like,
I feel you.
Devin White's a pretty big, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know what Gakwe gave up for him. The trade was approved, so must have been a pretty good trade for Gakwe, but Defensive Player of the Year, that's a pretty big statement though, bro. Like,
facts, yeah. Really
I mean, you got guys like all together. Like his defense is pretty good. Like Gakwe got demons on his defense. He
got Adrian said, Mario Davis, Marshawn Lattimore,
Everson Griffin. His line is amazing.
Cam Jordan.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely do have a point for defensive player of the year.
He gave up I think he gave up to Ron Armstead, a 94 overall superstar offensive lineman. I think that's who he traded.
Oh, okay. Oh, well then, yeah, like you gave up PJ once again going
to protect
for
Brady.
Protecting Brady, but you can't protect Brady. You got to use Brady's like his abilities to help him out. Like you don't need to put a line around him. Like let Brady help Brady. Don't give up stuff like Devin White. Realistically, in my opinion, is like a top 10 linebacker in Madden. As crazy as that might sound, like you got your Bobby Wagners and all that, yeah, but
Miles Jack,
like you got all of them, but Devin White's a top 10 linebacker. You don't trade a top 10 linebacker for a top 10 offensive lineman. That's not what you do. But
is this Mikey talking? Yeah, Mikey's talking. Gakwe.
Yeah, it's Mikey.
Breaking news.
What's up?
We might have the Chargers versus Perk.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That will be happening shortly. Perk will be getting on.
We're gonna try to get Perk in his party to stream the game, so you could you guys can have the Lost Boys like around, like get your predictions in. Even though it's not game of the week, it's nice to know. I like watching games anyway, so
facts.
It is what it is. Like Gakwe, like I said, going back to Gakwe realistically got, honestly, in my opinion, it sounds crazy. He realistically got 3 defensive player of the years on his team. He got Cameron Jordan, Everson Griffin, and Devin White. When I played Gakwe, it wasn't a blowout on nobody's part. It was a defensive game. Offenses didn't do anything. He has the advantage. He has a defensive line. I don't have an offensive line. Everybody knows I'm the Cardinals. I like to keep things hard for myself. It gives me much more of a challenge. His defensive line came through. I don't know what to say. He's a really good player. And
Mikey, let's be real, bro.
Devin White.
You only chose the Cardinals for K1.
K1 go crazy, but still, I didn't choose for just for K1. I chose to it's 4th. Well, I like to keep it. It's a challenge. Are they the best team in Madden? No. They don't like their defense is their weakest thing about them. So
All right, guys. Before we go way off topic, we'll go back to K1 in a second. Let's get over the box score real quickly.
We'll get back to K1 by talking about K1.
Facts, exactly. Just halftime here, 23-7. It didn't get much better for Peter Fennings. He only scored a touchdown in the 4th quarter. 51-14 final score here in San Francisco. Griffin has close to 20 sacks, I think. He's cooking. Yeah, Everson Griffin might be leading the league in sacks currently. But speaking of K1, absolutely perfect game from him. A QBR of 132.2, 224, 2 touchdowns and a single pick, 13-16. Very accurate in this one. Jimmy G struggled mightily, 279, 4 INTs, 11-28. Couldn't get much going for the San Francisco 49ers, but on the ground, absolutely absurd for a quarterback to put up these rushing numbers. 18 carries, 346, 4 touchdowns. You're obviously looking at the NFC Player of the Week for Week 11. Tevin Coleman, 9 carries, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Nick Chubb getting to the end zone as well. Jimmy G throwing 4 picks, also with a lone fumble as well. Kyler has over 1,000 rushing yards. Facts.
No, wait for his reaction.
Oh my!
His reaction is the first. Oh my!
George Kittle leading the way, receiving for both teams, 6 catches, a $172. Only lone bright spot for San Francisco 49ers in this one. DK Metcalf coming over in his first game via trade from the Seattle Seahawks, which was quite a bit surprising. They got Kenyon Drake. They swap X factors. DK, Kenyon Drake, kind of works out both for both teams. 4 catches, 84 yards. Christian Kirk, 2 for 70 and a touchdown. Philip Dorsett, 6 for 63 and a touchdown. Watch out for K1 as it looks like he's just heating up here, trying to make an MVP run, and he has a complete arsenal of weapons around him in the running game and also through the air. Nick Bosa, 3 sacks for him as well. Quan Alexander, Hassan Reddick, and Zach Allen. So we go to the INT department. Isaiah Simmons chimes in as well. Darnell Savage, Byron Murphy, 3 straight rookies contributing heavily on defense. Patrick Peterson, age reset, and Antoine Bethea with the lone pick for the San Francisco 49ers. As we go here to the defensive touchdowns, surprisingly none. It was all Kyler this week. Zane Gonzalez with the lone field goal in this one. No special teams touchdowns. That's all she wrote. K1 absolutely put on a slaughter of Peter Finn and the San Francisco 49ers. As 49ers desperately trying to fight their way into the final playoff spot with a couple more weeks left till playoff time. That's all the games for week 11 here. As we go to week 12, we're going to quickly go through each game and quickly give our predictions here. Right Power 18 of the Indianapolis Colts taking on 8-12 of the Houston Texans in a AFC divisional game. Who do y'all have here this week on Thursday Night Football?
After that dominant game, you might think I would pick the Texans, but I gotta ride with family here. My boy, I think Will got this. Will got it.
Okay, how about you, Lil?
I've never seen Will play, so I'm not sure what the Texans.
Yeah, I think from what I've seen,
the Texans play.
yeah, I think from what I've seen, I just have to go with experience, and I gotta go with A-Pass. Yeah, but Colts, don't sleep on Colts. They have a lot of weapons as well. But I have the Houston Texans this week. Going on to the next game of the week, the first 1 o'clock game this week. Big Black Dad of the Denver Broncos taking on Is Decisive of the Buffalo Bills. This one, I feel like this one might be a little close. Honestly, I don't know who to really pick here.
I'm gonna go with something. I might be a little bit of surprise. Some might think I say Decisive, but I think that Big Black Dad is definitely.
Yeah, I've only known how Decisive plays, so I don't really know anything about Big Black Dad here. But just off rosters alone, I think defensively, I'll probably edge the Buffalo Bills. Offensively, it's not even close. I got Denver. I think if Denver knows how to properly execute with that offense against the Buffalo Bills, tough defense, I would probably give the Denver Broncos the upper hand in this one. So I'm siding with Big Black Dad in this game.
I'm gonna go with the Titans on this one.
Okay.
I actually played them before.
Fact, same.
He was the Seahawks, and I believe I was the Ravens.
Yeah.
And Brandon Curse.
For the next game of the week, Fallen Drago of the New York Giants taking on Gaming 305 the Chicago Bears. Two teams who are looking on the outside of the playoff race, both kind of rebuilding at this point of the year. Who do y'all have?
I think Saquon.
Okay, yeah, even though the Giants are my rivals, division rivals, I'm gonna go with the Giants.
Yeah, I would probably go with the Giants as well. I have no idea how Gaming plays, so
yeah, he's new. He just joined the league.
Yeah, just gonna have to go with Saquon and what he's been doing. Floor General GP of the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on Liverpool 7-2-2-2 of the Cincinnati Bengals. Who do y'all have in this AFC rivalry?
Well, disclaimer: I haven't seen Floor General play or talk yet, so I'm gonna need you to be active so you don't get kicked. However, my personal
I came to boot.
I think Liverpool needs to win this game along with playing his game this week because Advance is coming up soon, and I don't want just have your chance of making the playoffs, bro.
Yeah, I'm going with Liverpool in this one. I think he has a lot to play for. I think he's a lot better than what people write him off for. I don't think he's elite, but I think he is solid for being as young as he is. Yeah, I got Liverpool in this one.
I also have the Bengals on this game as well because I haven't seen Steelers play. Even though Steelers have a killer defense.
For the next game of the week, JSD 136, the Miami Dolphins taking on Bankroll Niles of the Cleveland Browns. How do y'all feel?
Well, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. The Browns had told me he's tanking, so the obvious choice here is
Dolphins.
JSD.
Yeah, I would go Dolphins too. Yep.
Alright, next, the game after we have Praise John versus Smoking Hazard. Again, Smoking Hazard, haven't seen you talk in Discord. I'm gonna need you to be a little bit more active. Like I said, Lewis is making a tab for that, so you don't get kicked. But if they both play, I got Prejean in this game.
Yeah, I got Prejean.
He needs a win to make wild card. He's lost to Gakwe twice now. Meaning Gakwe has solidified as the best team in that division. So at least give you a chance a shot at wild card.
Facts, yeah. Lewis?
I'm gonna go with PJ. I've seen PJ play. I haven't seen McCarthy play. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with PJ.
Next game you have Gakwe versus Karen Vader. Don't know who that is, but going off of experience, like Jay said earlier, I got the Saints this game, and I got the Saints winning 38-14. Honestly.
Yeah, I got Gakwe pretty clear here. Pretty clear.
Where's game of the week?
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Yeah, we're getting that.
Alright, well, I'm going with Gakwe.
Next game after that, Leonard Tor. He originally was in this league as a different team. He joined back as the Lions. I'm gonna need you to talk too, bro, against OFT Big O. Big O of the Redskins. I got Redskins this game. I know he's in y'all division, but I got him this game.
I got Redskins too. I actually played good against him when me and him played. He barely won. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I got Redskins in this one just because I've seen Leonard play quite a bit, and I think they're about the same level, so this might be a pretty close game. But I got Redskins edging it.
So game after Logan and Jets.
Yeah.
I got Logan this game.
Yeah, I got Logan this one. No bias. I just think Aim is pretty good too. He's pretty solid. No.
Yeah, Logan's pretty. Yeah, it's a solid game. Jay Humper 69. Jay Humper 69 in the Tennessee Titans. This is crazy. Jay Humper just joined the league, but he has a win with a winless team. And the Titans. Titans. I guess we go Titans here. Which, by the way, I want to say something before we continue. You've been caught watching another person's stream. We don't care why you feel like you was watching the stream. Just don't. It's pretty obvious you shouldn't be doing stuff like that.
Yeah. That's pretty self-explanatory. You know what I mean? It's common sense. If you watch somebody stream, it's first things first. People are gonna jump to conclusions, and it's the obvious. You're watching their plays, and you're knowing what to expect. So.
Exactly. So I don't care if there's I don't care if there's a delay. I don't care if it's a blah blah blah. Like still, there's no excuse for watching a person stream.
No.
All right, game after that we have Altered Chaos versus your boy J Wills. Now, honestly, if they play this game, I got J Wills. If they don't, I got Lewis. Only because J Wills is it seems like he's tanking. I don't know, but. Who knows? Who fucking knows? What about you, Jay?
Man, you the bro, Lou. You the bro. But if y'all play, I got J Wills. Let me say that right now. If y'all play, I got J Wills.
Imagine that fucking asshole not going for me.
I'm just saying, bro.
No.
Give me a sec. I'll be back.
No bias, of course.
No.
You have a good chance against them. You got a way better team than them. Way better team. If anything, he has a way better secondary than you. That's the only thing I can say he has better than you. Other than that, you have literally every other position over him. But his corners are crazy. Got Gilmore, McCourty, Jonathan Jones.
No, since Mikey fucked up and gave me a Thursday. The Vikings can make it superstar for my tight end until the Thursday.
Who are you talking about?
Against the Vikings, it was my tight end. He's supposed to get superstar.
But for his sake, I hope he knows. Oh yeah, Gakwe. I don't know. At this point, Jay Wills has like 7 losses. So for him to get in the playoffs is like he has to win out.
He had to win the rest
And
of the
it doesn't help his case that he's not playing me right now. So that's another loss on his record. So he goes 8. He has 8 losses. You're pretty much done. He is going to be tanking. But you do have his first round pick, which kind of like he's kind of screwing himself big time. I don't know what he traded exactly with you for a first round pick, but probably not the smartest move.
He probably thought that he was gonna go in.
Yeah.
You know, like he did last time when he was the Patriot.
Facts. Because he had success in the last league, but this, yeah, it's not working out in his favor.
Yeah, his work schedule was fucking over.
Yeah, exactly. He hasn't been active at all. But going on to the next game here, Big Meats 007, the Green Bay Packers taking on Peter Finn of the San Francisco 49ers. I think this might be a pretty good game, honestly. I think Peter might want to bounce back from the shellacking that Mikiey gave him in the week previously with K1. And I think Packers is going to try to stay atop the NFC. You know, he's took a couple losses, but he also came over a couple big wins, especially over Juju, as we just saw. So Green Bay is definitely a wild card team. Not wild card spot, but he's kind of one of the more unpredictable teams. You don't know what to expect. He could be either really, really good or completely let you down in some matchups. It's really unexpected. But in this one, I gotta side with Green Bay in this one. But don't count out Peter.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go for Peter. I'm not gonna lie. I got Peter.
I don't blame you. I think Peter, you know, he has a lot on the line, you know. He's fighting for the last playoff spot. I think he has like 5-6 losses so far. So he has to, if he wants to make the playoff push, he has to do it now against a tough Green Bay team. Yeah. And going with the game of the week, Sunday Night Football. Henny Jr. Shaq of the Seattle Seahawks going on the road to take on Boogie Bot J1, aka Jay Dilla, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Two of the best teams in the NFC taking each other on Sunday Night Football. This is personally, when I saw the schedule, this was my game of the year since day one. So I feel like if I could put up a good fight against Henny, I think he's my best competition. No offense to you, Gakwe. I think I've never beaten Shaq. Shaq is really, really good. So if I could at least get a W under my belt against Henny this week, I feel way more confident heading to the playoffs. But how do you think this game's going this week?
Shaq wins 8-14.
8-14, Jesus.
28-14, Shaq.
28-4. Wow. All right.
I'm gonna say,
I like that.
Jay, you're gonna hate me and all. But since you didn't vote for me, I'm not gonna vote for you.
I know. I like that. I need something. Give me that.
Alright?
Give me all that.
I want
Give me all that.
you to put yourself through this and get the W. Prove me wrong that you got what it takes to beat Shaq. I'm going with Shaq. I'm gonna say 38-21.
38-21. I like that.
I got Shaq beating you.
Okay. I like that. You want to put a score on that, Logan?
Invite
Score?
Yeah.
32
My bad. I meant to say 28. My bad.
to 24.
30-24.
I said
Alright.
38.
Okay.
invite
I already invited him.
Yeah, I'm fighting Purdy.
So apparently Redskins and Jets are playing in person.
All right, that's cool. Yeah, that's game of the week for week 12. Shaq versus me. This is a game I'm really
Alright.
looking forward to.
Well, the last game we don't really got to get into. There is a computer where once the RAM user actually joins the league, then I guess we could ask between them, but we don't really know between both teams. All I know is this needs to be a win by the Baltimore Ravens after the controversy in his game against Liverpool and then absolutely not showing up against the Texans. He has to win that game.
Who, the Ravens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Theo Logan,
I wish.
you should have never had left.
Nah, I feel more comfortable on the Raiders.
Really?
Considering I have 2 top 5 first round picks. Henry Ruggs, Josh Jacobs.
Alright.
Seems pretty young.
Well,
Alright, that's pretty much it for the predictions this week. So before we wrap up this recap, we're gonna go over the mid-season stats. Of course, we're gonna give some positions some praise.
we're going over
of course.
We're going over the quarterbacks first.
Yeah, of course. As always. For the quarterbacks, leading the way in passing yards this year, surprisingly, Deshaun Watson, no D-Hop, still getting the job done, 3,086 yards. Second, surprisingly, of course, Jimmy G, Patrick Mahomes in third place, Jared Goff in fourth, and Resurgence,
Let's do the
top 10.
Oh, no. No. We're going to do 5. We're going to do 5.
And Cam Newton coming in fifth place, surprisingly. None of the big names that you usually expect. Russell, A-Rod, Matty Ice, even Tom Brady. All outside the top 5. But as we go here to the passing touchdowns, of course, who has scored the most this year? And speaking of, A-Rod, AR-12, leading the way, 30 passing touchdowns, leads the league so far. D-Watt, 29, coming in second place. Jared Goff with 24. Cam Newton tied for fourth place with Kyler Murray with 23, and Kirk Cousins in fifth place with 21, and Carson Wentz just outside with 20. As we go to the INT department, who has thrown the most picks this season, and it's not looking good for the GOAT himself, Tom Brady, with 29 picks this year, as opposed to 14 touchdowns. Tom Brady struggling
Dak
mightily.
Prescott is not number 1 in picks.
No.
Dak Prescott is top.
He's top
10.
10.
He's top 10, but he's not number 1.
Yeah, it's
he's top.
surprising. PJ
He
throwing
only has
29
12
picks
touchdowns,
with
though.
Brady, considering he has Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, and Gronkowski at that.
Yeah. So I guess we go over the completion percentage for starting QB's completion percentage. Cam Newton, 75. Tied with Kyler Murray. In second place is Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Sam Darnold. Those are your most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. You want to do QBR rating?
Yeah, we could do QBR.
For starting quarterbacks, none other than the GOAT, K1, get loose. He has the QBR rating highest in the league with 140. In second place is Cam Newton with 122. He's tied with Russell Wilson. Deshaun Watson in third place. Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz are your best quarterbacks in the NFL when it comes to that department. We don't really need to go over yards per average, but longest yards with quarterbacks airs it out. Kyler Murray, 91 longest, tied with Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen, 87 yards. Dak Prescott, 86. Joe Burrow, 85. Jared Goff, 83. Kirk, Tom, and Carson Wentz, all with 81, 81, and 80.
Hey, I'm up there.
Oh, you was ugly. All right, Jay, I guess we're going over to rushing. Go ahead and gloat. Here comes the gloating, everybody. Watch out.
Here we go. Leading the way and rushing yards this season, and also coming off a bye week, so get ready for some more. Devontae Freeman, 1,604 yards this season, leading the way in rushing yards for all running backs this year. Saquon Barkley, 1,521, coming in second place. Derrick Henry in third. Dalvin Cook in fourth, and surprisingly enough, Kyler Murray beating out Corey Grant by 4 yards with 1,231 yards, and not even eclipsing 100 rushing attempts yet.
Get loose, K1.
Rushing touchdowns. Devontae Freeman leading the way in rushing yards. Devontae Freeman leading the way in offensive rushing touchdowns this year. 25 under his belt. Derrick Henry coming in second place. 10 rushing touchdowns less. 15 for Henry. Barkley with 12 in fourth place. 11 for Kyler Murray, Nick Chubb, and Kelvani Muhammad And in 5th place, J.K. Dobbins and Tevin Coleman. Of course, we covered the good, but we also covered the bad. Leading the league in rushing fumbles this year. With all the good also comes the bad. Kyler Murray leading the way with 11 fumbles. The next closest is 3. Just 3.
Everybody, I just want y'all to know that this game is broken. Quarterbacks always fumble. That's all I'm gonna say. Go ahead.
Dwayne Haskins with 3. Joe Burrow, Carson Wentz, Easton Stick, and Lamar Jackson all coming in 2nd place with 3 rushing fumbles. Other than that,
I guess we have to go over broken tackles. Oh no, we don't. Broken tackles. Do we?
Yeah, I mean, we could if you want. We obviously know who leads the league. That would be no other than the workhorse himself, Derrick Henry, with 45 broken tackles midway through the season. But of course, yards after contact. If you have the most broken tackles, of course you're gonna have the most yards after contact. Derrick Henry also leads the way by a staggering amount over Saquon Barkley in 2nd place, and Devontae in 3rd, Leonard Fournette in 4th, and Nick Chubb in 5th place. Also,
that's 3 lost boys in top 5. Look out.
The longest rushing play of the year goes to 2 rookies, Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, with 98-yard runs this season. Kind of ridiculous, the rookies are putting on this year. Of course, we're going to the receiving side so far. Leading the league in receptions, no other than surprising, Will Fuller, 61 receptions at the midway mark for the season. 2nd place would be Kenny Stills, who's also on his team. Deshaun Watson. In 3rd place, Brandon Cooks. The Houston Texans have 3 of the top 5 receptions leaders. Kind of ridiculous. Yes. Fuller, Kenny Stills, Brandon Cooks.
Does this thing need to be updated or something? Cause
that's crazy.
Hold on.
That's insane.
I think you're looking at NFC, brother.
No, it's NFL.
He's looking at NFL.
Oh, he's looking at.
That's insane.
Top 3 in the NFL is Tyreek with 1,203.
He's talking about receptions.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I'm. I thought he was talking about yards. I was I'm about to say, boy.
Now, yeah, reception-wise, Texans hold 3 of the top 5 spots, which is kind of ridiculous, and shows exactly all the help that Deshaun Watson is getting this year.
Well, let me find out. The Houston Texans got 3 1,000-yard receivers.
He could possibly pull it off. That would be amazing. Tyreek Hill, of course, coming in 4th place, and George Kittle leading the way, the lone tight end in the top 5 this year. As we go ahead to receiving yards, who else do you expect at the top spot? Tyreek Hill, the biggest playmaker in the league, 1,203 yards leading the way at the midway mark. Will Fuller cracking over 1,000 yards. Adam Thielen coming in 3rd. Devontae Freeman. Why do I keep saying that? Devontae Adams coming in 4th place, and AJ Green coming in 5th place. As we go to receiving touchdowns, Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, deadlock at 14 touchdowns leading away. Christian Kirk, Mike Williams, Kenny Stills, DK Metcalf, all coming in 2nd place. Paris Campbell, Sterling Shepard, Juju, Jamison Crowder, Adam Thielen, and AJ Green all at 7, and the rest is yada yada yada. Runs after the catch, Tyreek Hill leads the way with 425. Will Fuller in 2nd. Derrick Henry, surprisingly 3rd run after the catch. Devontae Adams in 4th. Adam Thielen coming in 5th. And before we head out and go to the defensive side of the ball here, longest reception of the year, Devontae Adams and Philip Dorsett with a 91-yard scoring touchdown. Kind of ridiculous.
Time for first base.
Facts. Leading the way for tackles this season will be Roquan Smith, Corey Littleton, and 2 Oakland Raiders, and Corey Littleton, Trayvon Mullen, Bobby Wagner, and Devin Bush tied with Tony Jefferson for the final spot. Other than that, we'll go to the sack department real quick. Leading the way, Everson Griffin, 18.5 sacks. J.J. Watt coming in second place, 14.5. Just half a sack over Nick Bosa in third place. 13 from Leonard Williams coming over from the New York Jets via trade. And Fletcher Cox, 11.5 sacks coming in fifth place. As we go to the INT part of the section, Trey Waynes had a streak where he won Player of the Week 3 or 4 times in a row for the AFC, which obviously contributes to the 11 INTs he leads the league with currently. Wouldn't be surprised if he's an AFC Defensive Player of the Year candidate by season's end. Landon Collins coming in second place with 8. Adrian Amos, Harrison Smith, Tyrann Mathieu, Nickel Roby all with 7, and a plethora of players with 6 picks as well. Wait, Devin White has 11 too. What are you talking about? 11 INTs? What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Gakwe?
So apparently right now...
Oh, Devin White does have 11 INTs. But that's crazy.
Yeah, it's sometimes it don't show, like, when it comes to NFL, yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. 11 picks. Facts.
So basically, first place in INTs is tied between 2 people, which is Trey Waynes and Devin White.
Facts. And obviously Devin White might have the edge due to a higher amount of tackles.
So let's go over to defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, we could go to touchdowns real quickly. Leading the way, Kyle Duggar, cornerback, coming over from converted safety,
Patriots.
coming over from the Patriots. 2 touchdowns. Darnell Savage and Trey Waynes, all with 2 touchdowns apiece, and just a bunch of players with solo touchdowns this year. Any safeties this year? I would be surprised. Yes.
Yeah, Eric Berry.
Eric Berry?
Oh, you said safety. Oh, mom's stupid. Actually, yeah, we got a couple of safeties. Zach Vigil, Kareem Jackson, Eric Kendricks, Whitney Merciless, Everson Griffin, and Zadarius Smith.
Gotcha. Of course, you know, picks are such a big part of the game, but should we do it? There's a lot of players for forced fumbles. I was gonna show forced fumbles some love.
I think you should show first down.
Kick
That's what we did.
Special team touchdowns.
Oh yeah, facts. If you don't know already, the most accurate kicker this year, no other than Shaq, with Jason Myers, 18-20 leading the way. But Brett Maher from the New York Jets, 13-13. And let's go to special teams touchdowns. As we go to kick return, leading the way. Are we going by kick return average, or what do you guys want to do?
Just go by touchdowns. We have to do it by touchdowns.
Touchdowns. Who leads the way in touch? Wow, everybody has solo. Nobody has more than 1.
Wow.
But if we go,
the longest kick return.
the longest kick return of the season goes to Curtis Samuel, 106 yards. Insane. As they're hating on Devin White. Why aren't his stats showing? It's Madden for you, bro. That's Madden for you.
Devin White? I'm joking.
The highest average in kick return this year is Naheem Hines, 35.6. The next closest, 30.5. John Hightower, DeAndre Swift, Rashad Penny, Adam Humphries. Other than that, punt returns. Can punt returns get any love? Who do you think leads the way in punt return touchdowns?
Probably Tyreek Hill.
Of course. Of course. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Leads the way with 2 touchdowns, of course. That's it for individual stats. Do you guys want to run through team stats, or?
I guess we good on that. I mean, we could do that at the end of the season. Just to show.
I just want to point it out that
Let's go to MVP races, and then we're good.
my
Big
offense
fact.
and my defense are not the worst. Just want to say. Hold on 1 second.
Alright, as we go here to the MVP race, and wow, Devontae Freeman, coming off a bye week, is going to continue a resurgence to keep himself atop the MVP race. Coming in second place, creeping up on him, Kyler Murray, hopping over Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley. Deshaun Watson leading the league in passing yards, coming in 5th place. Russell Wilson, he's creeping on the outside, can make a late season run at 6th place. Dalvin Cook, Corey Grant, Cam Newton, and AR-12. But for Coach of the Year, surprisingly, Cliff Kingsbury of the Arizona Cardinals at 9-2 over 9-0 Shea Dilla of the Philadelphia Eagles. Phil Richard of who's Gakwe of the 9-1 Saints. Pete Carroll's Shaq at 9-1, and Chris Dale of the Packers 8-2, and a bunch of other coaches as well. Someone named themselves George Floyd. Jesus Christ, man.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? It's ignorant. Other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much it, man. If anything else comes out, we will be updating the latest playoff race for each conference. We will be updating the MVP race to put it up in Discord. Anything else you guys want, just request, and we'll see if we can cram it in the Discord. Other than that, any of you guys have anything to say before we head up out of here?
Nah, it's a pretty successful recap. Like I said earlier, I don't want another Week 10 situation ever again. So I don't know. I just encourage people to play. Like if push come to shove, just run the game back, bro. Just it don't matter.
Big facts, yeah. Just more importantly than anything, yeah, guys, just stay up to date on the Discord.
Be active.
If you don't want your notifications getting blown up, just convert them to just mention. That's all. Just add them for yourself, not add everyone. You know what I'm saying? It'll just be easier like that, so your phone don't get blown up. But yeah, just stay active in the Discord. Keep up to date on everything. And as always, thank you for tuning in.